The Dodgers front office just got hit by a storm they didn't see coming. In the span of just a few days, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the two-time defending World Series champions and the most feared roster in all of baseball, have been rocked by a knee scare involving their greatest asset, a trade proposal that could strip the organization of three key pieces, and a press conference that answered nothing while raising every question. Let's break it all down, because what's happening in Dodger Blue right now is far more dramatic than anything happening on the field. Let's start with the most alarming moment. On June 11th, during a game against the Pittsburgh Pirates at PNC Park, Shohei Ohtani, the man who is currently rewriting the definition of what a baseball player can be, was pulled from the lineup in the 7th inning. Ohtani experienced pain in his left knee and hamstring area after a stolen base attempt on a foul ball, and the decision to remove him was described by manager Dave Roberts as purely precautionary. That sounds reassuring on the surface. But what people are not saying out loud is this: the moment Ohtani limped off that field, the entire baseball world held its breath. Why? Because this isn't a random player with a random knee. Ohtani has an injury history with that knee. His 2019 season ended early due to surgery to repair a bipartite patella. When a superstar has a documented surgical history with a specific body part, and that exact body part flares up during the prime of an MVP-level season, you don't just say, precautionary, and move on. You sit down, you worry, and you ask serious questions. And what exactly did Roberts say at the press conference? Roberts said his level of concern was not high, despite pulling Ohtani early from the game, and that he felt good about Ohtani being back in the lineup the next day. Not high. That's the kind of answer that sounds calm but tells you almost nothing. A manager whose franchise player just left a game with knee inflammation, a player with prior knee surgery, says his concern is not high. Was that genuine confidence, or was it crisis management from a front office that cannot afford to show panic? What makes it even more complicated is what came next. Due to the ongoing risk of injury, the Dodgers announced there will be no base stealing for Ohtani until his knee is fully healed. There will be no base stealing, Roberts said directly. Think about that. The Dodgers have just placed a restriction on Ohtani's game. He is now limited on the bases. For a player who does everything, who hits, who pitches, who runs, that restriction is not a small thing. It's a sign that the medical staff and the front office are genuinely nervous, even if Roberts isn't showing it publicly. And yet, remarkably, Ohtani came back. He drove the decision to return. Shohei drove it. Training staff drove it, Roberts said, noting that Ohtani missed just one contest before insisting on being back in the lineup. That tells you everything about the kind of competitor Ohtani is. But it also raises a different concern. Is the Dodgers' medical staff strong enough to protect him from himself? What did you think of how Roberts handled the press conference? 87,634. Honestly, it felt like Roberts was walking a tightrope. On one side, you have a player who is perhaps the most valuable athlete in baseball right now. Ohtani has posted a 7-2 record with a 1.47 ERA and 78 strikeouts through his first 12 starts, while also hitting .296 with 15 home runs, 42 RBIs, and a .962 OPS. Those are numbers so extraordinary that any injury, even a minor one, feels like watching a Picasso painting start to crack at the edges. Roberts knows that. The front office knows that. And the press conference reflected that tension, a lot of words, not a lot of answers. But here's what really set the front office ablaze. While the Ohtani knee situation was still dominating headlines, trade rumors began swirling around three names that Dodger fans never expected to see in a trade package: Emmet Sheehan, Dalton Rushing, and Kim Hye-sung. Let's talk about Sheehan first, because his name is the loudest one in these conversations. MLB insider Jeff Passan proposed a blockbuster trade that would send Sheehan, along with outfield prospect Zaire Hope and infielder Aiden West, to the Detroit Tigers in exchange for ace pitcher Tarik Skubal. And the reasoning isn't crazy. The Dodgers have the unique combination of pitching depth and outfield prospect talent that no other team possesses, which allows them to build a package that is wholly unique in baseball. But here's the problem. Sheehan isn't just a spare part. He's a 26-year-old arm under club control through 2029 who battled back from Tommy John surgery and proved he belongs at the highest level. Giving him up, even for Skubal, is not a painless transaction. And then there's Kim Hye-sung. Roberts himself explained that Kim was sent down to AAA Oklahoma City because the Korean infielder had lost his legs in his swing, struggling to a .186 batting average over his last 15 games with 16 strikeouts. That's a brutal stretch. But context matters here. Kim had started the season hitting over .400 with a .967 OPS before the slump hit, and Freeland, the player who replaced him, was hitting just .116 at the time of the roster move. This wasn't a decision based purely on performance. It was a front office calculation, and it's a calculation that has frustrated fans and analysts alike. What's your read on how the Dodgers handled Kim's situation? From a player development perspective, it was puzzling. You had a player hitting at an elite level for weeks, and the moment a cold stretch arrives, you option him to AAA rather than give him the chance to work through it at the major league level. That's the Dodgers' philosophy. They have so much depth that no one spot is truly secure. But for Kim, who came over from the KBO with so much promise and proved himself capable of performing in the majors, this has to sting. The message it sends is uncomfortable. Even when you're good, you might not be good enough. Not for this roster. And Dalton Rushing? The Dodgers catcher Dalton Rushing has been making headlines again, drawing attention for his actions during the team's series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. For a young player still finding his footing at the big league level, being tied to trade speculation adds pressure he doesn't need. The Dodgers are asking Rushing to grow in real time, under the brightest spotlight in baseball, while simultaneously dangling him in conversations with other franchises. That's a difficult position for any young talent. Now let's address the new arm taking the mound against the Orioles, because this is where things get genuinely interesting. The Dodgers are bringing in a pitcher whose contract mirrors that of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, a deal that signals serious commitment and serious expectations. Yamamoto came to Los Angeles on a record-breaking agreement and immediately became one of the most important arms in their rotation. To hand a new pitcher a contract of similar structure and value means the organization sees something special. The question now is simple: can he deliver? Because in Los Angeles, there is no grace period. You either perform at a championship level from day one, or the pressure starts to crush you. What does all of this tell us about where the Dodgers stand right now? It tells us that being the best team in baseball comes with its own form of turbulence. The Dodgers are not struggling. They are comfortably leading the NL West and are the favorites to win a third consecutive World Series. But the combination of Ohtani's knee restriction, the trade package swirling around Sheehan, the demotion of Kim Hye-sung, and the front office press conference that felt more like damage control than transparency, all of it points to an organization navigating enormous complexity behind the polished exterior. The truly remarkable thing about Ohtani is that even with a knee restriction, even with a blister on his pitching hand, even surrounded by all of this organizational noise, he has not slowed down, posting historic numbers both as a pitcher and a hitter simultaneously while the Dodgers chase their third consecutive championship. That is what separates Ohtani from every other player in the sport. The chaos doesn't reach him. He just competes. But the rest of the Dodgers? The front office, the manager, the players caught in trade speculation? They are very much in the middle of it. And how they manage this moment, the injuries, the roster decisions, the pressure of expectation, will define whether this team makes history again or falls just short of the dynasty they are trying to build. The press conference may be in flames. But the season is far from over.